Good morning, boys and girls. This week we're going to be talking about buildings again, and we're going to talk about what do the buildings in our neighborhood look like, and what do the buildings in our city of Chattanooga look like. I'm going to begin today by showing you this picture right here. I hope you can see it. Do you know what this picture is? Do you know where this is? If you said it's a picture of our school, you're right. This is a picture of Cedar Hill. This is a picture of our school that you see every day when you pull up to come to our class. Here's another picture that you see in our neighborhood, and you see in a lot of places, in every city and every town, they have a restaurant that I'm sure that you've seen this. Everybody probably knows what this is a picture of, right? McDonald's. This is called a fast food restaurant because you can get your food really fast here. I'm sure everybody has been to a McDonald's at least one time. So, we're going to start today by reading a book. The name of the book is A Chair for My Mother, written and illustrated by Vera B. Williams. Also, you see a special seal right here, or a circle. This book is a Caldecott Honor Award book. This book won an award for its pictures, for the illustrations. A Chair for My Mother. In this book, Rosa, her mother, and her grandmother lose everything when a fire destroys their home. Their new apartment has some furniture and some new things in the kitchen, but one thing that they don't have is a very comfortable chair. In their old house, they had a chair that was very comfortable that their mother used to sit in after her long days at work. Her mother works in a restaurant. And this must be Rosa. This must be her mother. So let's read to find out what happens in this book. A Chair for My Mother. A Chair for My Mother. You can see a jar right here that they are starting to collect money. They're starting to save money. What do you think they're saving their money for? This is the picture. This is the picture of the restaurant where her mother works. It's the Blue Tile Diner. A diner is another name for a restaurant. Her mother works at the Blue Tile Diner. You see the words? Blue Tile Diner. And Rosa is the one that's telling the story. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salt and pepper shakers and fill up the ketchup bottles. One time I pretend all the onions... let me read that again. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finished, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me some money for helping. And every time I put half of the money into a jar. This must be the savings jar. She puts half of her money into the jar. What do you think she's saving her money for? Here's a bigger picture of the money jar. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all of her change from tips that she makes at work for me to count. Then we put all the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of money to put in the jar. Some days she hardly has any. Then she looks worried. But every evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. A coin, this is money too, but it's not the paper money. This is the money that's made out of metal. These are your nickels, your dimes, your quarters, your pennies. Right? It's not the dinero de papel. It's not paper money. These are coins. This is a picture of Rosa with her mother and her grandmother. We sit in the kitchen to count the money. Usually my grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas, she puts by the extra money to put into the jar. So Grandma, Abuela, is also putting money into the jar. Doesn't her mother look tired? Do you think her mother has a very hard job? When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we're going to take all the money and go buy a chair. A chair. I have a picture in my mind which chair I would like to buy. I'd like to get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We're going to get the best chair in the whole world. That's because our old chairs burned up in a fire. We had a big fire in our other house. All of our chairs burned. So did our couch, our sofa, and so did all of our beds. It wasn't very long ago that we lost everything. I remember that day. Do you see the fire trucks? Do you see the smoke from the fire? Do you see Rosa and her mother? Rosa and her mother are coming back from the store and they're running to see what happened. What is going on? They didn't know what happened. They just see smoke coming. They see the firemen with the water hoses trying to put the fire out. Right outside our house were two big fire trucks. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All of our neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy, Tio Sandy, saw us and ran to us. "Where's Abuela? Where's Abuela?" said Rosa. My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here. Abuela is okay. Don't worry." Abuela was okay. But everything in our whole house was ruined. It was such a terrible fire that they couldn't live in their house anymore. I'll never forget the day we looked in the window and saw all of our things burned up. It was a very, very sad day for us. The floors were all shiny. It used to be a nice house. but we couldn't live there anymore. We had to move into an apartment downstairs. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 chairs for our kitchen. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug, and my mother's sister, Sally, Tia Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans and things for that we could use in the kitchen. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. Abuela said, "You are all the kindest people, and we thank you very, very much for helping us to start our lives over again." That was last year. Look at the jar, boys and girls. Look how much money is in the jar. The jar is full. We still don't have a sofa. We don't have a chair when Mama comes home that she can sit in. There's no good place for her to sit down and rest. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find, and we started to fill the jar up. Now the jar is too heavy for me to pick up. Look how much money they put in the jar. Remember, the jar was, see if I can find a picture when they first started this. Remember, the jar was almost empty? And now the jar is full. Do you think they have enough money to buy the chair? We took all our money down to the bank. I never would have believed it, but the jar is so full. We wrapped all the money into little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them up. We took them all to the bank. The bank gave us paper money, $10 bills. We took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. So they traded in the coins and they got $10 bills. They got paper money. Dinero de papel. We shopped. We went to 4 different stores. We tried to sit in different chairs to see how comfortable they were. We shopped and shopped. We tried big chairs, small chairs, high chairs, soft chairs. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks in the 3 Bears story, trying out all the different kinds of chairs. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of. The money in the jar was enough to pay for it. Can you guess which one they picked? My Uncle Sandy, Tio Sandy, came down in his truck to pick up the chair for us. We couldn't wait to bring the chair home. This was the chair that we bought. I sat down in the chair in the back of the truck, but Mama said that I couldn't ride there all the way home. We set the chair right down beside the window. with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in the chair while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now my grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down when she comes home from work so she can rest. And after we eat supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. That's the end of the story. Isn't this a good book? A chair for my mother. See you later, guys.